What makes you smarter? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you can have me at your next event. I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. All right. Well, as I'm streaming this live on a Friday afternoon, this week's shows, well, tonight I'll be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, the video dance party karaoke jam every Friday night. That's pretty much my Friday night gig, the place I want to be, the place to be in the whole wide world. Right there is the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. Now, yeah, I guess we can't fit the whole world in there. There is a maximum capacity, and we're trying to stay vigilant during this coronavirus COVID-19 thing. So we're limiting capacity. And yes, you should wear a mask on the way in, put some hand sanitizer on, and then, enjoy yourself while you're in the building. When you're interacting with people, put the mask up. When you're sitting down at your table, having some drinks, having some good food, you can pull the mask down, to expose the mouth hole. Yeah, that place. All right. And then they have the full bar, the kitchen's open, the pool tables. There's a pool tournament every Friday night. So if you want to make some money on a Friday night, come on out to the Rab, Conway, Arkansas. And you can sing with me, video dance party, karaoke jam. Yeah, I said karaoke. You could sing a song right next to little old me. And also, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. And the newest thing, KeysDAN Gaming. Yeah, I'm playing video games online, streaming, Fortnite, Call of Duty, Pinball, Galaga, Street Fighter 5, whatever. I'm playing some stuff. Whatever I find interesting, I'm going to play it out there, stream it, and I'll let you know what I think of it. And while you're watching me play, you could figure out what I think of it and how good I am. Most of the time when I'm starting out in a game, just like a lot of people, I fall flat. But I'm not upset. I'm not ashamed or above letting people see me as I start out on a new game. I don't want to get proficient and then just come out and show you my best. I'll show you how it is when you start off on a game. So yeah, KeysDAN Gaming. You can find that on Facebook. There's a Facebook page for KeysDAN Gaming, and also on Twitch, twitch.tv/KeysDAN. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today for Friday, August 21st, 2020. 10 things you need to know today. Number 1, Biden accepts Democratic presidential nomination. Joe Biden accepted the Democratic presidential nomination on Thursday night, ending the party's virtual convention with a promise to unite Americans to, quote, overcome this season of darkness, end quote. Quote, the current president has cloaked America in darkness for much too long. Too much anger, too much fear, too much division, end quote, Biden said. Quote, here and now, I give you my word. If you entrust me with the presidency, I will draw on the best of us, not the worst, end quote. Biden said he would not, quote, put up with foreign interference in our most sacred democratic exercise, voting, end quote. And he promised to confront a, quote, perfect storm, end quote, of challenges, including an economic crisis, climate change, a national call for racial justice, and a pandemic he said President Trump has failed to address. This is according to the New York Times and the Associated Press. Number 2, Stephen Bannon arrested, pleads not guilty on fraud charges. Stephen Bannon, President Trump's former chief strategist, was arrested and charged with fraud on Thursday. Prosecutors in New York accused Bannon and 3 other suspects of participating in a scheme to defraud people who donated to a, quote, we build the wall, end quote, effort to raise money for the construction of barriers on the U.S.-Mexico border. Bannon, Brian Kolfage, Andrew Badolato, and Timothy Shea were charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. The online crowdfunding campaign raised more than $25 million, all of which was supposed to be spent on the wall. But prosecutors said Bannon received more than $1 million of it through a nonprofit he controlled, used a, quote, substantial portion, end quote, himself, and sent hundreds of thousands of dollars to Colfage. Bannon entered a not guilty plea and was released on bond. This is according to Reuters and the Washington Post. Number 3, judge rejects Trump bid to block tax returns from New York prosecutors. U.S. District Judge Victor Marrero dismissed a lawsuit filed by President Trump in a bid to block the release of his financial records to New York prosecutors and a grand jury. Trump's lawyers set a subpoena from Manhattan District Attorney Cy Vance seeking Trump's tax records and other documents was too broad. But Marrero rejected that argument. Quote, the court finds that the president has not sufficiently pled that the subpoena is overbroad or was issued in bad faith on this basis, end quote. The judge wrote in the ruling. Vance demanded the documents as part of an investigation into hush money payments made to 2 women who allege they had affairs with Trump, which he denies. The Supreme Court ruled last month that Trump is not immune from criminal subpoenas, as his legal team has claimed. Trump's lawyers are appealing the Thursday ruling. This is according to the Washington Post. Number 4, new jobless claims rose above 1 million again last week. The Labor Department reported on Thursday that 1.1 million Americans filed new claims for unemployment benefits last week, reversing a decline from the previous week, which saw the figure drop below 1 million for the first time since the coronavirus crisis hit in March. The rise from 971,000 new jobless claims the week before surprised economists, who had forecast on average about 923,000 claims last week. The new report indicated that 28.5 million Americans still are receiving some form of government unemployment assistance. Analysts said the new numbers served as a warning sign that layoffs remain high, as many states still face high rates of COVID-19 infections and deaths. This is according to the Wall Street Journal and CNBC. Number 5, 73 Republican former security officials back Biden. 73 former Republican national security officials released a letter endorsing Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden and calling President Trump unfit for the White House. The former Republican national security officials for Biden group includes ex-CIA and FBI chiefs and senior defense intelligence veterans who served under Presidents Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush, and Trump himself. Quote, Trump has demonstrated that he lacks the character and competence to lead this nation and has engaged in corrupt behavior that renders him unfit to serve as president, end quote. The group planned to say in a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal on Friday. The members of the group also accused Trump of, quote, spreading misinformation, end quote, and, quote, undermining public health experts, end quote, trying to fight the coronavirus pandemic. This is according to the New York Times. Number 6, Barr says DOJ will push to restore death penalty for Tsarnaev. The Justice Department plans to get the death penalty reinstated for Dzhokhar Tsarnaev for his role in the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing, Attorney General William Barr told the Associated Press on Thursday. A 3-judge panel of U.S. Circuit Court threw out Tsarnaev's death sentence in July, saying the judge in his 2015 trial did not adequately question potential jurors about their exposure to information on the case. The court ordered a trial on whether Tsarnaev should be executed for the attack, which killed 3 people and wounded more than 260. Barr vowed to take the matter to the U.S. Supreme Court if necessary. Quote, we will do whatever's necessary, end quote, Barr said. Quote, we will take it up to the Supreme Court and we will continue to pursue the death penalty, end quote. This is according to the Associated Press. Number 7, U.S. calls for restoring UN sanctions against Iran. The Trump administration on Thursday submitted a letter to the United Nations Security Council accusing Iran of failing to comply with its 2015 nuclear deal with world powers and calling for restoring UN sanctions against Iran, including an arms embargo. President Trump pulled the U.S. out of the nuclear deal 2 years ago, and all of the remaining parties to the agreement, Germany, France, Britain, Russia, and China, promptly rejected the U.S. move, which Russia and China called, quote, illegitimate, end quote. Just last week, the Security Council rejected a U.S. bid to extend an arms embargo due to expire in October. Quote, it is an enormous mistake not to extend this arms embargo. It's nuts, end quote, Pompeo told reporters at the UN. This is according to Reuters. Number 8, Uber, Lyft to continue California service after reprieve. An appeals court on Thursday gave Uber and Lyft a last-minute reprieve from a California law requiring them to reclassify their drivers in the state as employees entitled to benefits. The ride-hailing services had said they would have to shut down in the state at the end of the day on Thursday if the rule was allowed to take effect as scheduled on Friday, forcing them to stop classifying their drivers as independent contractors. Quote, while we won't have to suspend operations tonight, we do need to continue fighting for independence plus benefits for drivers, end quote, said Lyft spokesperson Julie Wood in a statement. The companies are hoping to buy enough time to push through a referendum exempting them from the requirement, but the appeals court ordered them to submit plans to comply within 30 days. This is according to CNN. Number 9, at least 5 dead as California wildfires continue. The death toll from wildfires raging across California has risen to at least 5 after a flurry of lightning strikes ignited new fires in the northern part of the state. Tens of thousands of people had to evacuate their homes and go to shelters, despite the risk of coronavirus infections after California recorded 600,000 confirmed cases. Quote, not only are we dealing with COVID, but with also the heat and now the fires, end quote, said Cheryl Jarvis, who evacuated to a community center in Vacaville, but refused to go inside, sleeping in her Toyota Prius instead. Statewide, there have been more than 360 fires, with 22 major blazes still burning. Quote, we are experiencing fires, the likes of which we haven't seen in many, many years, end quote, Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat, said. This is according to CNN and NBC News. Number 10, Chiefs to ban fans from wearing headdresses to home games. The Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday said that after speaking with a, quote, group of local leaders from diverse American Indian backgrounds and experiences, quote, end quote, the team has decided to prohibit fans from donning headdresses or Native American-themed face paint at Arrowhead Stadium home games. The organization is also reviewing the, quote, Arrowhead Chop, end quote, action that is performed by fans. Quote, we are grateful for the meaningful conversations we have had with all of these American Indian leaders, end quote. The Chiefs said in a statement, quote, it is important that we continue the dialogue on these specific, let's start again. Quote, it is important that we continue the dialogue on these significant topics, and we look forward to continuing to work together in the future, end quote. In July, the Washington Redskins retired its name after years of complaints that the moniker was offensive to Native Americans. This is according to the Washington Post. That's 10 things you need to know today for Friday, August 21st, 2020. Thank you so much for listening. This has been What Makes You Smarter. Wherever you're listening, like, subscribe, comment. I accept nothing less than 5 stars. Yeah, 5 stars. You heard me. Also, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. I need some comments. I need some good news. Let me know what you're up to in this time. This has been What Makes You Smarter. Also, hey, look for me on the gaming thing. Yeah, I'm streaming games. Facebook.com / KeysDAN Gaming and Twitch.tv / KeysDAN. Yeah, find me, like me, do all that kind of thing. Hey, throw some money at me. I'm almost kidding on that last one. Really. I'm having fun. Really, I am. All right, that's it for me. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.